Alrighty, welcome back to episode 19 of the Dark Dungeon of Pop Culture, the Jabba's Dungeon podcast, with as always, Tyler, Avery, Chad, and myself. Boys, back from the dead. Last episode, Tusk got lost, and we're back for blood. We're here. We are marching through just along January. Difficulties aside, we are here. We may or may not be wearing any underwear. And yes, gents, how is everyone?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yep,
Alive.
staying warm.
I will say, I talked about it a little bit on the last one, but recording was lost. RIP David Lynch. David Lynch, one of the best directors, fucking all around artists. So if you haven't seen any of David Lynch's stuff, I'd recommend to check some of his stuff. I mean, whether it's like just videos of him talking on YouTube, if you're an artist in any shape or form, this man literally covered all mediums: painting, photography, drawing, filmography, everything. Super inspiring. So RIP David Lynch. And if you have any sort of creativity or wanting to, like, kind of hone in on some more creativity, I recommend checking out some of his work or just him talking, because it's super inspiring. It's just got me gutted. Like, ever since he passed away, like last week, I've been watching a bunch, not only of his movies, but just him talking and stuff. And it's really got my creative juices kind of flowing. I'm gonna have some news here before long. Logan and I, my film slash business partner, we are finishing up on a short film of ours that's taken us quite a long time, but we got some cool things in the works for that. So just along January, Tyler, you said, although you had just watched Jeepers Creepers, that you still have Mr. Tusk in your brain. So we could go over a little bit of our rough thoughts. Emphasis on rough, because I think I disassociated from Tusk. I think I had to move it away because, again, I'm just like, it just took a lot out of me. So Tusk. You got Canadians, you got Johnny Depp, you got potential walrus, human having sexual relations. We gotta pose the question. And Tyler, Chad, Avery, you all need to answer this, because I need to know: is man walrus?
Yes.
I must say yes because I can't imagine after like you guys tell me about it, just like a nubbed up man inside like a walrus suit just wiggling around. So
In that moment, he became walrus. He fully transitioned from man to walrus.
Fucking tell me, Tyler. Tell me the theory.
I still believe that he was a walrus at the beginning of the movie, but turned into a man.
ooh, ooh.
That's my dog, because he was a bitch in the beginning of the movie, but then by the end of the movie, he really knew what it was like to feel. He felt that true human emotion, and all it took for him was to be embedded into a fucking walrus suit.
A bit extreme, but he
A
got
bit
there.
extreme, but if you're a shitty podcaster, which I would know about, then sometimes that's what it takes.
One of us might end up in a walrus suit.
Hey, hey.
And one of us is going to have tears rolling down our tusks. And that's fucking beautiful. Actually, you know what? If you want some high art, go check out Kevin Smith's Tusk from 2014. It doesn't happen to be an A24 film for nothing.
Actually, I
That's a-
might change it to like a 3.5 star rating after.
I might change
thinking
it
about
to instead of half a star to maybe 7/8 of a star. The more we're talking about it.
You can just round up to a full.
Well, no. Johnny Depp, he single-handedly carries the back half of the film, especially whenever Justin Long can't fucking speak anymore. Because again, he got his tongue ripped out because he became Walrus, but again, more of a man.
If you were to be put into any kind of animal, mammal, reptile suit, what would you be?
Capybara.
If I become a bird, can I fly? Like, do I gain the ability of flight?
Unless you're an ostrich.
Damn.
Maybe for like a short distance, enough
Okay,
to like.
it's basically like a chicken. Like I just float.
Yeah.
Okay,
Damn.
let's be a dog. Just walk around, pee on things. Just walk through the neighborhood.
You can just be a furry.
Oh
Good
no.
point.
Oh no.
Who said I'm not?
Oh no.
We got to tap into some different demos.
I know a guy.
I also know a guy. Or are you talking like you know a guy that's a furry?
Somewhat.
Oh, I just know a guy.
I think I know a guy.
And I mean, I knew a guy that like wore a tail around a lot.
Mm. So what if you had to be entombed in an animal carcass, what would it be?
I feel like you gotta go with like the monkey or like a gorilla or something.
Ooh.
Keep my
We
appendages.
need to do like a monkey tier list because like I love monkeys.
That'd be fun.
If I ever saw like a chimpanzee and it wasn't like encased in something, like if it wasn't behind bars or something, I would try and immediately kill it before it kills me.
Okay, that was not where I thought you were going with that. I thought you were like,
This
take
is
it
the end of
home.
episode 19.
Do we forget Travis the chimp? He ripped that lady's face off.
Is that the one that she went and got a haircut?
What?
Which
What?
monkey attack is this one? Because
This is whenever this is Charlotte Nash. This is if we watch Chimp Crazy, which you motherfuckers need to watch, they talked about this because it's the lady that was watching her friend's chimp and he was like fucking like a unit. Dude was built like a fucking generator. He was like 500 pounds and was just a brick shit house and he was like 30 years old and he like just was on Xanax, which is always a good thing from what I've heard, and just started like attacking this lady and ripped off any of her appendages. So I remember hearing the 911 call of that whenever I was a child, and my opinion on chimpanzees has ever, been altered.
Yeah.
But orangutans,
Dude,
get down with some orangutans.
me and the family went to the zoo. I think it was in Columbus, and then we were walking, and we didn't notice that we were like entering the orangutan kind of like habitat. And we
Ooh,
just look over, and this giant fucking orangutan is like in the like some like tree structure. I say tree structure because I don't know if it was like a real tree or not.
yeah,
Dude, it was fucking huge. He was just like just a big boss, just sitting there. And I was like, that's badass. They're one of my favorites because they're just so cool looking.
very cool looking, like Planet of the Apes. Shout out Maurice, he's got that big like flap on his neck.
Sleep under it, you know.
I just go for the
Mhm.
panda
Zero one.
bears. Panda bears are where it's at.
Panda bears, they can be little mean fuckers.
They can.
They can be real mean.
Yeah,
I like the red ones more than I do the big, white fluffy ones, but
the
they
red
still kind of
pandas.
those there.
Those are pretty cool too.
We also need to do like a bear tier listing, all the different bears.
I gotta say, like, I think probably like the most, like the thing I'm probably most afraid of, like just going in the woods and shit, is bears. To be honest, because they are fucked up. I heard they fucking eat you from the ass first. So like, I don't know how true that is, but that's terrifying.
Ever since I watched Cocaine Bear, it's not been the same.
Oh, I still haven't watched that.
Banger movie.
Mm.
I have a weird obsession with watching like the show called I Survived, where they talk about like mortifying like things that people go through. I mean, like a lot of assaults, and like then there happened to be like episodes where there's like people going through like natural disasters and then like animal attacks, and there's been a lot of like bear attack episodes. And that has become a new fear of mine because I kind of want to like start going like camping more and whatnot. And like I know around this area it's gonna just be black bear really, but if you're like ever going out like further like west or whatever, like the grizzly bears are like a definite possibility.
Yeah, you're fucked. You get fucking brown bear,
'Cause I
dude.
think, yeah, I think black bears they're just kind of like more like scared of you than
Yeah,
us of them most of the time.
I forgot the thing.
But there's a definitely wasn't expecting it to go this route. There's a 2006 documentary film that I haven't seen, but I'd like to watch. It's actually directed by the dude that made the 1979 Nosferatu, and it's called Grizzly Man. And it's all about this dude that him and his wife lived in the wild with grizzly bears. And after filming had concluded, I think it was either after the filming had concluded or they were about done. There is supposedly audio. I've tried to find it before because I'm just a fucking freak, I guess, but I don't know if it's legit or not. Of the guy getting mauled and killed by a grizzly bear. It's like supposedly he had pressed record on a camera and like the lens cap was on, so it was just the audio. But who would have thought that living with some dangerous apex predators would get you there?
That's wild.
Yep.
Well, I'm just, you're gonna,
So
Tyler's gonna be
yeah.
visiting me soon.
So yeah, watch Tusk if you're wanting your if you're wanting this profound level of thought to be had.
Yeah.
Go watch Tusk.
Dude, Chad and Tyler, you haven't watched Nosferatu yet? I know you haven't,
Mm.
probably, Tyler, because you've been busy today.
Yeah.
When you can actually watch it in good quality, it's like, wow, this movie's pretty damn good, you know?
You say it's your favorite Eggers?
I would say so. I would say that like I love The Lighthouse, but like rewatching Nosferatu and actually like, because when I was watching it totally illegally, it didn't look the best. So sometimes I would kind of just look away and do something else, and then I'd come back to it whenever it looks good again. But being the quality that it is now, like there's a lot of things I missed in the first watch, that I really liked, and it honestly, like I don't want to say that 'cause it's like a spoiler thing, but I definitely want to talk about it more after you guys watch it because there's a lot of questions I have and a lot of feelings that I have that I see it's mixed online a lot, but like with the movie. So, but there is things like certain scenes that I feel like, there's something more there than what people think. So
Yeah.
that's just me.
I think upon a rewatch or so, I don't know if anything will ever top The Lighthouse for me, but I could see if I watched that a couple more times, that maybe. I mean, you got so many good performances in there.
He Eggers just has this like I love how he's doing like the gothic type of like old like folktale type stuff. And honestly, Universal doesn't even have to touch the monsters anymore. Just like leave it to Eggers, man. Like he hit Nosferatu, he's doing a werewolf now. He just needs a Frankenstein, and I guess somebody else was doing like the Black Lagoon, right?
Supposedly, they were talking about it.
I mean, like you got basically all of them, other than like the werewolf movie that Wolfman that's coming. Actually, that was the correct term, Wolfman instead of werewolf.
I wanted to check out the new Wolfman movie. I've heard not so great things about it, but still,
like mixed.
Yeah. But Lee Winnell, he done a really good Invisible Man, and like, I don't know. People have said it's more like like rough man. Like he's just like a dog, which is lame.
Which I mean, like them releasing the character design at that like Universal night, whatever, and like some
Yeah.
wrong turn dude after going like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was like,
we
January released.
yeah.
Very strange. Did they ever say if that was official or was that just like a stand-in for the design? Has that ever been like officially said yet?
I don't think so, but judging by what little I've seen in trailers and like clips, it looks like that's probably like final design, which is crazy.
I know
It's
that
go ahead.
the I forget, what studio's behind it? I forget.
Um,
Blumhouse.
yeah.
I know on their YouTube channel the full transformation
Mhm.
is uploaded. I haven't watched it, but yeah,
I've
if you just
I've
want to,
seen
I guess the
clips of
best
it.
part.
Mhm.
Yeah, the trailer I saw like where he's like reaching in his mouth and stuff. But
I know this year, pretty certain that we're getting two Frankenstein
mhm.
films. We're getting the one with Christian Bale and then the one with Guillermo del Toro.
I am more excited for Guillermo because he is just such a amazing monster creator. I mean, like through Hellboy and all of his stuff, like Cabinet of Curiosities. If you guys haven't watched that, I think I've talked about it in past podcasts, but
Mhm.
that is like one of my favorite series because it really has like a good horror vibe to it. Like the one Alien episode is great and really freaky. Because like I've always had this weird thing. It's like, well, you know, if aliens are real, hopefully they're not like big parasites that fucking like crawl in your body or something like that. And that's like what the episode was kind of about. So definitely traumatized me a little bit more than I wanted it to. But
And horror anthologies are always cool. I mean, whether it's like a film that's got different kind of like sections of it, kind of like the VHS films do, or something akin to that, or like a Twilight Zone or something like that is always fun. I still like going back on some of those old Twilight Zone episodes.
Twilight Zone, I've been meaning to like watch the newer ones. I even wanted to go back to like the original, but like years ago, whenever they did the newer version of it, I thought it looked cool. Um,
With like Jordan Peele and
mhm.
stuff.
And then, but you never really hear about it. You never hear anything about it.
Yeah,
And even when it came out, I didn't hear much about it. I just saw like a couple clips and I was like, oh, that looks interesting. And then nowadays, I mean, you just don't hear anything about it other than like his
yeah.
movies, of course. But
It seems like a lot of the episodes are like retreads of like even the classic episodes, like the ones on the plane or like ones that take place in like a neighborhood and there's like a like entity kind of entering in and whatnot. So I don't know. A good anthology is like Black Mirror, honestly. I mean, not really horror, but I mean like some really good like kind of like science fiction and what have you.
yeah, I've watched a couple of those. I haven't watched them all. I really like the what was it called? Love, Death, and Robots. They had a good
Mm.
bit of good ones. Um, I would say American Horror Stories now, but they're kind of I feel like American Horror Story and stories they've kind of like lost who they are to be honest at this point. And from like where they started out, like it was really like not horrorish, horror vibes. And now like you go like I was looking at the newest season on Hulu and I just see like on the thumbnails of them it's just like Kim Kardashian, Kim Kardashian. I'm just like I don't know if I want to watch that because
Mm.
fucking just seems like a
I'd ar-
celebrity grab.
I'd argue it is also horish. That's like the only thing that like could never really get me into like those first couple of seasons. It was just like the ratio was like scary sex, and I was just
Yeah,
like, God, I feel like I'm just watching
You don't
smut.
I
you don't
mean,
want both of them?
I need a little more of a horror ratio because it felt like there was a lot of fucking,
yeah,
especially like whenever you got like Evan Peters' deformed ass hands.
Leatherman.
Yeah, and he's like
Yeah.
using his like lobster fucking
stop.
fingers as some puss blasters.
I forgot about that. Fuck.
God, I wish I did.
God.
Then you got him in a gimp suit, which is, you know, it's
That's true. There's a lot of sex now I think about it. Fuck.
well, I really like Murder House and Coven, which is
Murder
like
House.
season 1 and 3.
I feel like
Those are the only two I've seen in full.
I like that one. Also liked Asylum. But that
Asylum's
was the
one of my
second
favorites.
season.
Yeah. Coven, I liked for the most part. It's my least favorite. I don't know. I don't know. I think every time I think of American Horror Story, the one season that comes to my mind that I think that like fit like stroke time perfectly fits it is Murder House. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I'm just like that's American Horror Story. But
On Hulu, they got American Horror Stories, which is actual, just like single episode anthologies. I watched a few of those. In the first episode, it's like a two-parter. They actually go back to Murder House, and it's actually pretty solid. It was 2 episodes, like I said, and it's pretty solid.
I can't remember if I watched it or not. I know I watched a couple of the episodes. Yeah, like I think I like it, but I don't know. Some aren't scary really at all. Some are just kind of goofy.
Hmm.
Like there's one that I watched. I think it was probably 2 days ago. It was like about a patient that got experimented on, and she had like gotten found by this nurse or whatever. And she's like in this pose where her mouth is open and she's like all twisted up, kind of like having a stroke the whole time. And it was kind of goofy that episode. But you'll have a couple of ones that aren't that great anyway.
Right. All right. Being that we got this far into talking about primates and animals alike, and then American Horror Story, let us bring it back to the month at hand, just in long January. This episode, we're going to be covering a certified hood classic in my household. It's went 5 times platinum. I've been watching it since I was like 7 years old. We got 2001's Jeepers Creepers. And you got Justin Long, Gina Phillips. And in my opinion, you get just like a really fucking solid 2000s horror.
Yeah, they're not made like this anymore at all. Like, I really like the vibe of this movie. Like to start out and everything, like the brotherly sister love. Like, just happens to find like a fucking murderer that turns into a monster, or that is a monster, I should say.
Yeah.
It's nice to have siblings that aren't like annoying and
Mm,
hate each other.
yeah,
And it comes off rather genuine, I feel like. I mean, just like as far as like their dynamic and chemistry. I mean, you really do get like the older sister, little brother kind of vibe. And you know, him just kind of trying to overcompensate and be kind of funny, but he's still like coming off like dorky and stuff. And you got her where she's kind of more like stoic, but you know, tries to be that caring kind of like motherly figure at times. I do love how it opens on just this like desolate highway. Um, for the longest time, I don't really know like where I didn't know where it was filmed, but it really floored me once I figured out it was all filmed in Florida. But
wow,
yeah, well, kind of once you like get like that sense, like I feel like it just comes off as just like a humid movie. Like everybody's sweating, and you like get like the trees, and you're getting a little bit of that countryside.
Mhm.
I mean, it's really cool, and it does have like a certain like 2000s flair to it because you start out and you're just on this road, and you're getting this bit of dialogue, and then you're just kind of thrown into the fire with this big fucking beat up truck just like tailgating your ass, just laying down the horn and trying to get out of the way. And it's like the film kind of pulls from a lot of different like films. Like this was kind of more so like a cat and mouse, kind of like akin to like Steven Spielberg's like Duel, where there's like, you know, just a car and then a big ass truck just trying to like mow it down. So I feel like that always gets me in pretty easy, no matter how many times I've seen this. Just like when that truck comes in, and the sound design is really great. I mean, because just that horn is just like imposing as hell. And Chad, was this your first time watch?
It was my first time watch.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I mean, I feel like still, I mean, for what it was, just the buildup that you do get, and whenever they go to pass the church, and I feel like this still holds up as like a really eerie shot. Like whenever I was watching it, I was just recounting like when I was a kid, I used to watch this like crisscross on like a little like tube TV, and it freaked me out. Like I would watch on the Sci-Fi Channel, like sometimes middle of the day, sometimes before bed, and it would just scare me. And whenever it would be that shot where they're passing by and they're just getting a view, and it's him dumping the body down the pipe, and he turns around, and you're just getting this like real like far back view of him. Like you're not able to like distinguish any of his facial features really, but you're getting this like music. The music in this is great. I mean, it is like a great like orchestral kind of like real like brooding kind of music. And as soon as you pass by that church and you see that he sees them, you know this shit's on.
Mhm.
And that's what I love about it.
Oh yeah.
And then, whenever they're driving by, back again, you know, 2000s charm, back whenever you didn't just have a cell phone at your whim. You had a cell phone that needed charged and a cigarette lighter that doesn't work. And then a cool thing, whenever it shows like the shot of the truck pulling out, they were trying so hard to make it seem like they were filming just in the middle of like a desolate highway. But actually, if you look, whenever he's pulling out in the background, they try to like hide it in the camera, but you can actually see a truck parked in the back. And then they do this really cool shot where it's like kind of like a bird's eye view from the truck, and it's just like ramping up on the car, like it's just like going like a fucking 100 miles per hour. And like there he says, Justin Long's character, he's like, he's got the fucking thing souped up or something, because I mean this freaking truck is like 1950s era truck. And I mean, dude's got like he's got like that Dom Toretto hookup or something, because that shit is fast and furious. Crazy. So, boys, if you're in this situation, if you're just on a fucking Florida countryside in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, you got no cell service or anything like that for hypothetical sakes, and this starts happening to you, what are you doing? You're just gonna keep going. And you're in this like shitty like 1960s fucking Chevy.
Dude, I mean, yeah, probably just keep driving. Honestly, like, I'd, like try to get off the road. But man, like I drove to Florida, and those motherfuckers out there are relentless when it comes to driving. Like, so it's just like seeing that shit, like, very much the same. They don't care. They will fucking drive you off the fucking road if you're going. Like, I've had multiple people when I drove out to Florida flip me off, and I was going the speed limit and like higher. It's just like they're just going by me on the side, just flipping me off the whole time. It's like, all right, well, this is awesome.
I don't
I'll just
find
keep driving. Just keep
Yeah.
going. Just don't stop.
I don't find it a coincidence that the creeper is a Florida man. I don't think it's a coincidence.
Eating
He
people's
He's
is
faces.
like
Florida man.
He is like he should be the fucking the state animal of Florida. So they get driven off the road. Another thing I love about this is just the fucking absolute inconsistencies of the skyline in the beginning, because when they pull off, it is like dusk. And whenever they stupidly decide to go back to the church, it is like midday, which is funny, but just an observation, and being that I've watched this too many times. So he hits her with a profound question. What if it was you? And she's like, all right, yeah. Oh, whenever they were pissing, whenever she like jumped up and you just got like a shot of like her crotch, that fed me for generations.
I didn't notice that, but I'm gonna go back now.
Well, she like had her panties. She had some like 2000s panties that just like rode up like like they almost look like granny, like a granny thong. And nice, may I say. So they go back to the church.
That's your childhood awakening.
It was, bro. She was my like absolute childhood dear. I was like, I'd be fucking running away, but I could try and, distract him for you. It was a childhood awakening. So they go back to the church. One of the funnier lines in the film, I feel like, is whenever they're pulling up Justin Long Dairy, he's like, Jesus Christ, it's a church. It's just like, yep. And then like I feel like a film like this, I can never hear like a crow caw the same way again. Anytime I like just at work today, there was a bunch of crows outside, and it just, gave me the thought of this movie, just because like it had such a good like kind of like iconography with the crows and him in the creeper. So they walk up on this giant like sewer pipe sticking out of the ground, which is, where we post from. That is the entrance to the dungeon. And they're whispering, they're, they're yelling, trying to hear what's going on down there. And then you get like a little faint noise. Then he says, grab me by the ankles, and he's going down there to get like all of like a 5-foot difference in view, which really not worth it. He, surprise, surprise, she drops him. And then we were kind of talking about this beforehand. There's a cool shot where he's like falling down, but he's actually, I think how they done it, he was like on like either like a skateboard or some sort of like apparatus where he can like roll, and they like pushed him back into a wall. But the way that it's shot and everything, it was really cool how they were able to do it.
When I first watched it, I honestly, well, like I've watched it several times, but I've never noticed that he was. I mean, it looks like, obviously it looks kind of weird. You see that it kind of looks a little off. You don't really like completely believe it, but it when he hits the back, it definitely looks like he's bouncing off a fucking ground. But
Yeah.
then I kept like rewatching it. And I was like, his hair isn't changing. The flap on his t-shirt is going down, like right, gravity wise. There's no like airflow and whatnot. And
hmm
I kind of noticed that he kind of like just slides back and then does all the animation like with his body. And I was like, oh, it's just not really like falling. Of course, he's not really fucking falling, but like,
Yeah. But the fact that they were able to mask it as well as they did is like really cool, because
yeah,
again, they just kind of with what limiting like budget they had with this, they were able to do a lot of cool stuff, which something like that is very cool.
yeah,
Then you get the reveal where he encounters the guy that's all sewn up on his like chest and stuff, and that's always a pretty gnarly visual, especially whenever you're going into this for the first time, showing someone. And then you get the cool, like all the bodies kind of up on the walls and ceilings and whatnot. I mean, it is really like his lair. I love like the little shot you get of like the coffin, where it kind of looks like there's like like kind of like a depiction of him etched into the top of the coffin. I think that's always cool. and a little bit of like world building in the beginning whenever they're talking about like Kenny and Darla from like 20 years back, a high school couple that had died on that same highway that they were traveling on. It actually shows them straddled up on the wall, sewn up together, still holding hands, got the high school ring, class ring. So just adds a bit of that world building. I always, retrospectively thought it'd be cool to like see him actually come up through the church, like just to see what the inside of the church would look like. But obviously, I'm sure, they really like the inside of that church. They couldn't fabricate it to where it would work with like scale and everything or something. But always just been a thought. And then you get where Trish thinks that the truck's coming back. It's not. And then we get jump scared by sweaty Justin Long. And then we go to the diner. And they actually built that diner for this movie. And it was a building. I think it's either still up or they like had demolished it not too long ago. But pretty cool they built that entire diner for this film. I love whenever you get them exiting the vehicle and the truck is starting to pass by, and you just get that like sound score, just the dun, zoom, zoom, and then it like speeding by. It's just imposing as fuck. Like the score carries like heavily in the first half before it kind of turns into like a monster film. Like just the subtlety and like suspense that you do get with it, I feel like really does like a lot of like the heavy lifting. And then like an average like small town experience, you walk into the diner and all the fucking old fucks, decrepit old fuckers are staring you down. And there's this lady, you got Trish, this girl, and she's like, "Hey, we need help." And everyone's just like, "The fuck are you doing, broad?" And it's just like, what the fuck? Like a woman in peril, and everyone's like not batting an eye. And then the payphone rings, and they pick up, and they are talking to, I think her name is Jab. It's the psychic that is in the film that is kind of like an exposition character, Giselle, which is played by Patricia Belcher, which is like, she's iconic. Anything she's in, like I just instantly think of her from this film. And she's a great actress. But another fun fact, the phone call that is being made between them, whenever they were filming and it was Justin Long, like all of his talking, this was before they had even casted her. So they weren't sure what lines, or they weren't sure what lines he was replying to, or that they were completely different lines beforehand. So they were able to match up like her lines really well with his. I mean, like it doesn't like not fit at all. And you get some more exposition as far as if you hear this song run and it's like the 1950s Jeepers Creepers song, and adds a bit more eeriness. They phone some cops, and the cops in them are talking, and like and Derry grabs this cop's arm hard as fuck. Like, I feel like if this was like, any other situation, fucking decentralized, fucking face down, tased, like, Jesus Christ, he like grips the fuck out of that cop's forearm. And then they are notified that there is a sniffer among us. There was the creeper busted into their vehicle and was sniffing the laundry, which I can't say that I haven't done before, sniff some undies, but nonetheless, one of my favorite lines is he's like, "This guy drives an old brown truck and he nearly killed us. He nearly killed us, and now he's after us." Picks up underwear, gets a shot, and it says Darius on the tag. He says, and now he knows my name. That is so goofy. And then we get them driving on the highway at night, just perfect fucking vibes. I just love how it's shot and just everything that you get with it. And the cops are tailgating them, and they got the music cranked up. A different variation of the Jeepers Creepers song had started to play. And you just get this shot of the both of them in the front and driver's seat. And in the background, you get the creeper standing up on top of the cop car. And then he yoinks the lady cop out of the passenger seat, and then grabs old dude, grabs his head, and then gets the axe and chops his head off and throws it at them. They stop. They like skid out on the highway. Another thing about the sound design for this movie that I love is whenever they skid out, you get to hear the hubcap roll off. And as they're like sitting there, like, you know, just trying to take a breath as to what happened, you can still hear the hubcap just like slowly like starting to like, you know, flatten. So that's really cool. And then they get out, they're trying to inspect what's going on. Trish is, because, you know, she's still skeptical as to like everything that's kind of going on, but Derry's got a good idea that they're dealing with a fucking psycho. She sees the decapitated head, and then we get our boy the creeper hop out of the cop car. He's whistling his theme, his favorite tune. Was probably in the top 0.001% on Spotify listening to that shit. Picks up the head, gives her a good sniff, which, I mean,
Who wouldn't in that case, you know?
a good smelling head is pretty life changing.
Yeah, good smelling
Yep.
head for sure.
And then he flips him around and just like is kind of getting more of a smell. Starts digging in on some tongue, and I love the background with the billboard. Tastes so darn good. Just very fun. It's not overly serious. It's got that. I mean, obviously, you got the fucking monster whistling his own goddamn song as he's exiting, which is just like, you know, fucking based as fuck. So he's biting the tongue out, and they're taking this old shitter, like they're absolutely cranking the fuck out of them gears, and they peel off. I was thinking they're probably going like max like 40 miles per hour because of that fucking old ass car. But one thing, again, retroactively, that I kind of wish they could have obscured. I wish they could have obscured his face a little more before the reveal at the old lady's house, because having watched this now on like a Blu-ray on like a fairly nice TV, like whenever he's throwing the bodies in the back of his truck and then putting the hat on, I never noticed how clearly visible his face is, and it doesn't look that great because it's just like I don't think it's, you know, the makeup that's proper for like close up or whatever. I mean, it wasn't like super like distracting, but it was noticeable, you know. It was just kind of like, it was an interesting kind of, because the reveal is so like kind of there in the latter part. But either way, I do think that's funny whenever he opened the back of the truck back up to throw the head in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I felt the same way. Like, just looking at him, I was like, hey, he doesn't look as detailed as you think he would in these shots. That was one thing that I was noticing as well. Like, especially like the shirt area and stuff. It just kind of like, sometimes it kind of just looked like a dude in like a shirt and like a little bit of fucked
Yeah.
up face. But so, I mean, that's what it is.
Since we're kind of talking about that, later on in the film, whenever it's like his bare back and he's like eating the guy in the prison cell, I saw a fucking zipper. And
Oh.
I'm like, how the fuck did they do that? Like, how did they like let the zipper get in the shot? Like, that's kind of crazy. Because, like, later at the final scene, like you could see they kind of like obscured like the middle of his back and like some shadows, but the flashlight shined it, and like you could literally see the pull tab on the zipper of his costume, and I had never noticed that, and I thought that was like an insane fucking like detail. Like, come on now, guys. But we get them going to the cat lady's house, and the creeper shows up. She's got a really good line. I feel like I always like hearing this whenever she goes, "That's not my scarecrow." She busts out with the fucking double barrel shotty, is just ready to unload, and she's going back in the house because his ass jumped up and climbed up on the top of the house and broke in, and you can hear all the cats, you know, running about inside. And she said, "Not my babies," and they're trying to stop her. She takes the butt of the gun and just like, or either her knee or the butt of the gun and just like hits Derry right in the dick, which just like would send me over the edge personally. Like, god damn. And I love how they don't show anything for what happens in there. You just get like the two loud ass shotgun blasts, and you just get like the hits of light in there. And then you get her just kind of like standing there, and you come to find out that she's being like propped up by him. And I don't know if you all know this. I think there is footage of it on YouTube, but I remember it in a special feature for this. Whenever he puts her aside and it's the reveal of his face proper, originally they had him talking. Like he says a line and they recorded it and everything. And it's like he's got like this southern kind of like Cajun drawl. It's very interesting. I would say look it up if you haven't, or if we're doing this as a clip, we'll insert it here. But he says she don't smell too good, Darius. Like, you know, call back to him finding the undies, and it's really weird. I would recommend you all look it up because it like I'm glad they ended up without him speaking, but it's interesting that they shot it. They had, I don't know if that was Jonathan Breck's voice doing it or if they had dubbed it post, but
Yeah,
they
like
were like this close.
at that point, if they wanted him like to talk, you know, like the whole tongue scene still like makes sense without it, but it seems like it's like a setup for it. I'm taking the tongue, and then you immediately later on learn that he needs these things for himself to have. So like him getting that tongue obviously is setting up for him to talk before we even know that he's doing that. So that line, you know, it would have been neat to, you know, I would definitely watch it. I don't know if I've watched it before, but it's definitely a neat setup to take out, you know, because you would think they would also kind of like trim down that scene of him, you know, eating the tongue, but it's also like a fear factor type thing because they're like, what the fuck, like type thing. So
Dude, that kind of gave me chills because like I never like correlated that thought with it, but I mean like that's really fucking cool. I mean, I'll drop a link to it because it's really interesting. Definitely not how I would anticipate his voice to sound, but again, Florida man,
sounds like Gambit. I've been waiting a long
he really does. it's pretty funny. And then the part of the movie that I feel like is just like it goes on too long and it's just aged. I was watching this with Hayden, and it was whenever it was them in the car and he is on the hood of the car, they back up and he does like a fucking backflip off the front. And that's like, okay, yeah, cool, dude. And then they fucking pull forward and he jumps
Yeah.
over, they back up, he fucking jumps back over. I'm watching it with her and she's like, this is stupid. And I'm like, yeah.
It was.
Yeah, this part is like goes on just way too long. They got like some fucking, this is like the Matrix era. They're doing some fucking stunt work.
Dude, she fucking, when she got like forward again, and then it was like a good pause, and then she put that motherfucker in reverse again. I was like, again? Like, why are we going further with this? Like, Jesus.
That car, I have never heard a car make that kind of noise. It's like, it sounds like a fucking like those dinosaurs off of Jurassic Park 3. Like it is fucking like it is making the most obscene noises I've ever heard. And I don't know how in Christ's name they were able to like fake him out with it on that one where they were actually able to hit him. But he just like fucking rolls into the windshield and just flies up like 1,000 feet, and all of his tools fall down, and then he falls down, backs over him a couple times, see his wing pop out. He goes to flap him, nothing happens. They run him over again.
Yeah, she was ballsy for fucking going back and forth with that, just because of
Mhm.
how bad that car was. It was
Mhm.
getting stuck already. Like, what the fuck?
They try to be clever with the characters because, like, whenever they were back in the sewer pipe, she says, you know, this is the part in scary movies where someone does something really dumb, and then he asks whenever they're in the car and they're running him over, like, do you think he's dead? And she says they never are. So they try to be clever. Um, they make it to the police station. They're waiting on getting picked up from their folks, and Giselle shows up. It's kind of like exposition dumping some more, kind of talking about it needs lungs to breathe, it needs eyes to see. And I mean, even though it's exposition dumping, her character is great. I mean, she does like a very good job in her delivery and just how convincing she actually is. Like, she genuinely seems like a lady in a small town that would be a psychic. Um, so further on, the creeper shows back up. You get that close up view as the truck pulls in, and you get the beating you, which we come to learn is beating you license plate. And not him having his own fucking vanity plate. Like me and my sister, like, you know, it's like a family fucking movie. We've sent memes back and forth. Like, do you think his ass went to like the fucking Florida DMV and got a vanity plate? Like, how did that work? How did he get those?
It's true.
So you see him like hobbling into the station, which I love, like, because you can see how fucked up he is. And then the power goes out and they're doing roll call of the inmates, and then you get him, as we stated, on some inmates, and the officer draws a gun, shoots, you know, to no avail. And then yeah, it's shit's starting to pop off. He starts just like rampaging through the police station. I commented on Tyler's Letterboxd review. There's a cop that they show a couple times. It's the bald cop at the end. That's actually Jonathan Breck, the dude who played the creeper. So he kind of had his own little cameo in the film. Whenever he's actually present whenever the guy gets his heart ripped out, and that was a pretty cool scene. Trish, Derry, and Giselle. Giselle's trying to help them escape. They're kind of talking some more on how accurate her dreams are and if her dreams are ever wrong. And Derry asks her who's screaming while Jeepers Creepers is playing in the dark, and she looks at Trish. So we, you know, are led to believe that Trish is going to be the one that he's really after. I love whenever they're in that dark hallway and he just peeks around the corner and he's like crawling on the wall. And he just looks like, I love whenever he's just like naked. Like his body costume is just sick as hell. I mean, like, I feel like they like really like perfectly defined him in Jeepers Creepers 2, but he just looks so sick. And she tells them to go, and she's just fucking standing her guard. She gets on her knees, she starts to pray, and he grabs her head, pulls her back, and starts smelling her. Smells that she doesn't, you know, exude that kind of fear that he wants in a person. So Trish and Derry, they end up in this like interview room. Yeah, like interrogation interview room. And they're trying to get out. And Trish is looking through this like one-way mirror. And you can see that the creeper's actually on the other side of it. Something that they tried to do, but it wasn't very well realized. If you look on the creeper's hand, you could actually see a tattoo, and it's a tattoo of the inmate that he had just ate. Because whenever the inmate's arm drops, you can like see some of the tattoo, and you can see the tattoo on his hand. And then like one of the most awkward like cuts, like I don't know what the fuck they were cooking whenever they done this, but like they did not like edit this, and it just boggles my mind because whenever they go back to them in the interrogation room and they're arguing, they are like arguing like they lost their voice. They're like they're not saying anything, but they're like arguing like they're verbally arguing, and it's like an argument you would see on one side and you'd be like, yeah, they're saying stuff, but then when it cuts back to them, it's just quiet as fuck. But then the creeper bursts through and got both of them gripped up. He starts giving some smells, and he gives a lick to Trish. You know, is not really liking what he tastes, throws her back. So he's just got dairy, and then the rest of the cops blow in. Worst fucking police force there is, because Trish just like blew right past their line of defense, and it's just like, what the fuck are we doing here, guys? And he like rears back and expands his little head wings and gives a scream. And then she's just kind of like, hey, you don't want to take him, you want to take me, like. And, you know, not really thinking, but she's like, I'm stronger than him. And it's like, well, you know, you're kind of like setting him up for failure because he likes the little bitch boys, little scaredy cats.
He likes ones like us.
Exactly.
Whoa.
Exactly.
Whoa now, buddy. Whoa.
So he rears back, he busts open the windows, and he flies out. And still, I just love the score that plays whenever she's running out from the police station, just kind of like chasing like one last glimpse of him. And one of the more like, I mean, I think at the time it was kind of more so like, you know, jarring what they had left as the final scene, but whenever it goes to like an industrial yard and they're kind of like pulling in, and it's like the creeper's lair, his new lair, and you're hearing Justin Long screams. He really kind of imposed that he's good at dying in horrific ways in horror movies. Like this was the OG, because you just hear his screams, and then you get the view, you see his like tanned body, like he is like completely like gutted, and you get the slow push up, and you just get his face with his eyes gone, and then you get the creeper in the back, and he looks through his eye sockets, and that's actually Justin Long in the creeper suit. Like they actually got him in the creeper suit and stuff proper for that. And yeah, that's Jeepers Creepers. It's got a really good in credit song, and yeah, it's definitely doesn't hold up the greatest, but you know, I got fucking nostalgia glasses like crazy, and it's taken me a while to realize that it's really not as good as it is, but it's got a lot of good qualities. Like it's got that 2000s horror quality, it's got like slasher qualities, it's got monster movie qualities, but again, it is pulling from a lot of different films and what have you. But what did you guys think on this watch? Chad, first watch for you, Tyler rewatch, Avery kind of same boat as me, classic rewatch.
I enjoyed it for, you know, like the typical 2000s kind of horror movie. Back to the whole Justin Long, you know, he's in the suit with the odds and stuff like that. I was kind of hoping that they would carry that over to the second one, and maybe that they could cast him as the creeper, but I know, you know, they didn't go that route. But overall, I think I gave it a 3.5 when I first watched, because like I said, it wasn't like the greatest scary movie, but it wasn't bad for watching it. What 24 years later? So
Tyler, how did you think it held up on a rewatch? Was there anything that you picked up on, or anything new, or just anything particular?
I mean, like I said, that honestly, I know I just watched it like what 3 4 days ago, but it's already, and just with the couple days I've had, it's already back here. Uh, it had been, I think, 2 3 years since I've watched it originally, and on my original watch of it, I mean, I thought it was pretty good. Uh, Definitely, I feel with the director drama, I've never really dove too much into appreciating the movie at all, or like the how the franchise goes later on. I've kind of been tempted to watch it and get into it, but uh, original watch, I did really enjoy the creeper design and the truck design and just the feel. Because I mean, we're from not backwoods, but we see trucks like that on occasion.
Close as you can get.
Yeah,
scenes of like the truck at the church up near my camp, but there's so many places that look exactly like that. And that's the only thing I can think of the whole time. Is like every time I go up there now, I'm gonna pass one of these little churches. There's gonna be a truck out back. That's all I can think of.
See somebody tossing some fucking bodies.
Yeah.
and plus when I went to Scarefest in October, they had the Jeepers Creepers truck.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the line for it to get a picture with it was ridiculous. Same with I'm about to say Carrie.
Christine.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Avery,
I really don't have much.
how'd you feel that it held up on a rewatch?
I think on a rewatch, I definitely view it biased in a way because nostalgia definitely takes a grip on me. But then I'm starting to see like you definitely can see the low budget that they have. There is. I didn't notice the time of day like you were talking about in some, but that totally makes sense. You're shooting different things and whatnot, but I think now that I'm not so, I was more biased to it before, but now I see like the imperfections of it. It's still a good movie. Like my first watch, I loved it, and coming now to watching it, I think I would have to like rate it lower than I would have originally. I would give it like a 3.5 out of 10, just because it's a good cult classic, but it's a good story, but it is definitely has its imperfections.
Yeah, and kind of to what Tyler said, it is very, very unfortunate the shit with the director.
Yeah.
I watched this since I was a child, and I really had no idea of any of that stuff, obviously. I remember I was just going through one evening, it was my annual Wikipedia deep dive, and I think it was around like 14 or something like that. And I had stumbled across all the fucking horrendous shit about Victor Salva and everything like that. So yeah, fuck that guy. It's a shame he was even able to make the movie. But I mean, you got to think there was a lot of people that also helped work on that. I don't know. Definitely quite the fucking double-edged sword on that one, but definitely a piece of shit that,
It leaves a little poo on the stick, and
yeah. A guy that has lived far too long.
Yeah.
Should have been him instead of David Lynch.
Mhm.
But on that note, great 2000s horror film. Solid performances again, Justin Long and Gina Phillips, which you really don't see much of her anymore, but she was very good in this film. So if you haven't seen it, and you're not too turned off by, watching, the person it's directed by,
say it how it is. Say it how it is. Say it out.
Again, nostalgia glasses. I'm just like, fucking, love this movie. But yes, that was this part of Justin Long January. Topics to hit on that we hit on last week, but never made it. James Mangold says his Swamp Thing movie, he would like it to be more of a simple gothic horror. Fede Alvarez says that they're now developing an idea for the Alien Romulus sequel. A potential T'Challa recasting, which would be quite wild. And Tyler, take it away again. Potential Clone Wars bounty hunter for Mando and Grogu movie. Who the fuck is that guy again?
Embo.
Get him on the pod.
Let's get Embo on the pod. I don't even think he says anything. He just sits there and looks cool. Well, let's go.
What a tragic fucking, you guys won't even see 18 ever, It's just like straight to 19. So yeah.
Man, that was such a good episode.
It was a good episode. We really went, down David Ayer's throat, and you'll never hear it. You'll never hear it. We were going off, it's very energetic.
Mm-hmm.
I think this episode, and some people will notice, I think all of us is tired, except for Brandon. He just came from a nap. So
I'm about to be butt chugging some NyQuil after I get off here.
But yeah, episode 18, if anybody wonders, it was just a fail. We had technical difficulties. We just resolved it literally before this recording. Chad, thank God, and Brandon solved his. So that was like almost 2 hours of just them muted and me only talking, and that was so embarrassing watching back. Like, what the fuck is Brandon talking about? And I come back and I'm like, God damn it, dude, what the fuck?
I was so excited to watch that episode. I had it on the premiere in my car, and I was like, is my fucking like Bluetooth fucked up? And like I disconnected the Bluetooth, turned it up, and I could hear you like scoff and nobody else. At first I thought it was just me because of like the difficulties I was having, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
I sent the Walter White meme of him in the car.
God. Because like I was at work and I was like, I think I was on break or something. I was like, oh, I'm gonna check out, the likes or like the views on the episode, and it wasn't there at all. And I was like, did I fuck up something? Did I like make the time fucked up? And then I checked Discord because I wasn't getting notifications for whatever reason, and just all of it pops up. It's like,
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah. I made the executive decision to private that because as much as, us just sitting there like,
Yeah, thank God. That would be me fucking popping in, and I'm just like the only noise there. That's embarrassing as fuck, dude. That's embarrassing.
you'll have that, but shout out to all the support. Make sure to keep sharing. Check out the TikTok, back we up, Instagram, Twitter, X, and all that stuff. We appreciate those that are tuning in, and definitely share when you can because helps us out and fun to do.
Yeah. Spread around that Orlock cock short, because honestly that's my favorite right now because it's so goofy.
Mm-hmm. So we got one more. That's right, one more episode of Justin Long January to hit on.
Yep.
Right. That would be
Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Oh.
Who does he play? Simon or Alvin?
I think it's Alvin.
He actually plays the chipmunk?
Yeah.
He voices Alvin in the like 2007 one.
What the fuck? I didn't know that.
I hope he made bags on the Alvin and the Chipmunks movies.
That's crazy.
He doesn't do the singing, but he does the voice acting.
I was gonna say singing royalties would probably be up there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, you would have to get bags out of that, dude. No matter what. There's like, what, 4 or 3 movies?
Yeah, 3 or 4.
There's
I mean,
4, I think.
depending on if he kept doing it. I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, yeah, if you could change somebody, and hard to tell, if it's him or not with the high pitched stuff. So
But yeah, next we got 2009, Sam Raimi's Drag Me to Hell. Which, speaking of which, apparently Sam Raimi is going to be coming back to the horror direction. It's going to be some sort of horror film. I know starring Dylan O'Brien and another lady. I can't think of her name, but that'd be cool to see. I mean, Sam Raimi, is forever go-to director. We covered the original Evil Dead. Check that out if you haven't. Definitely would be cool to get into the other 2 films of the Evil Dead trilogy.
yeah.
But yeah, I think that's about all I can think of. If anything else you guys want to hit on before we head out of here.
Only thing, if you watch this and you make it to the end of this, don't be afraid to subscribe. It's free, and you get to see when our stuff drops. Most of our episodes are premiered, so it's basically a live stream. You can just jump in anytime you want to. Also, if you have any favorite movies, horror movies in general, or just directors, since we're doing like Justin Long January, and we've thought of other ones to do, comment it. Comment your favorite director or your movies that you want us to kind of like tap into, because I mean, we'll try anything. Um, that's pretty much it. Just subscribe and share it around, because it helps out a lot. We appreciate everybody that watches it. Because fucking 19 episodes, that's crazy. That's crazy that we're consistent. We try to be.
Listen to us on your commute,
Mhm.
whether it's to work, on your way back for work. It's a good commuting podcast. Get to listen to us. It's like you're, carpooling with a bunch of sexy men. And why the fuck would you not want that?
Yeah, it's not even like we have visual, but it's not like we're doing anything other than like showing off like some figures or pick up sometimes. So you don't.
Throwing off balls or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost saw your leg pop up earlier, Brandon. I saw that.
Let's not talk about it.
Yeah.
All right. Sick.